Welcome back to the Revenge Chronicles, the place where real stories of betrayal, heartbreak, and shocking revenge come to life. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because you don't want to miss what happens next in today's story. Now, listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you is something I never imagined could happen in my own family. I never thought the day would come when I'd look at my own father and feel pure hatred. You hear stories about deadbeat dads, abusive fathers, even thieves, but you never expect the man who raised you, the man who promised to protect you, to be the one who betrays you in the worst way possible. When I found out my father stole every single penny of my inheritance, money my late mother worked her entire life for, something inside me broke. Tell me, if your own father took everything from you, would you let it go, or would you make him pay? Growing up, my family wasn't rich, but we were comfortable. My mom was a nurse, kind, strong, and the heart of our home. My dad, on the other hand, was charming but lazy. He jumped from one job to another, always talking about how he was going to make it big someday. But someday never came. My mom carried the weight of everything: bills, groceries, school fees, you name it. Still, she believed in love, believed in him, and believed that a good heart could fix anything. I guess she was wrong. When I was 17, Mom got sick. Cancer. It came fast and hit hard. Watching her fade away was like watching the sun go out, and by the time I turned 19, she was gone. After the funeral, Dad told me not to worry about anything, that Mom had taken care of us. I believed him. I wanted to. For a while, I trusted that the man who shared my blood would do right by her memory. But life has a way of showing you people's true faces when money's involved. A few months after her death, things started changing. Dad quit his job, said he was too depressed to work. He started drinking more, sleeping all day, spending nights at the casino with old buddies. At first, I thought it was grief. I even defended him when relatives said he was being irresponsible. But then I started noticing things. Mom's jewelry disappearing, her car being sold, the house feeling emptier. I asked where everything was going, and he'd say, "It's for the bills, son. You don't understand how hard things are." But I did understand. I just didn't want to believe what my gut was telling me, that he was selling off her legacy piece by piece. The breaking point came when I turned 21. That's when I got a letter from Mom's lawyer, a letter that changed everything. It said I was supposed to inherit $180,000 from her life insurance and savings. Not when I was 30, not when I got married, right when I turned 21. But when I asked the lawyer about it, he looked confused. The check had already been issued to my father. I remember sitting in that cold office, trying to process it. "What do you mean it's gone?" I asked. The lawyer looked uncomfortable and said, "Your father presented a power of attorney, signed by your mother before her death. Legally, he had the right to access it." My blood ran cold. My mother would never sign that without telling me. I went home shaking, furious, ready to confront him. When I walked in, he was sitting on the couch with a beer in one hand and the TV blaring some old game show. I said, "Dad, where's Mom's money?" He froze for a second, then smirked. "What money?" That's when I lost it. I yelled, I cried, I begged. I told him I knew everything. At first, he tried to deny it, but then, he laughed. He actually laughed. "You think that money was yours?" he said. "I was married to her for 20 years. I deserve that money more than you ever will." That moment, that exact sentence, burned into my brain. I didn't even recognize him anymore. He wasn't my father. He was just a greedy stranger wearing his face. Over the next few weeks, I tried to get legal help, but because of the fake signature, there wasn't much I could do. My mom's lawyer said it would cost thousands to challenge it in court, money I didn't have. I moved out soon after, crashing on my friend Jake's couch while I worked double shifts just to survive. Meanwhile, Dad was living large. New car, fancy clothes, weekend trips with his new girlfriend, a woman barely older than me. I wanted to destroy him. But rage alone doesn't win wars. I needed a plan. That's when karma and a little bit of luck stepped in. One night, about 6 months later, Dad called me out of the blue. His voice was shaky, desperate. "Son, I need your help," he said. "It's important." My first instinct was to hang up, but something told me to listen. He told me he'd made a bad investment. Apparently, his girlfriend convinced him to sink most of the money into some shady business venture, and surprise, she ran off with it. He was broke. Completely broke. He said he just needed a little help until he got back on his feet. I almost laughed. The man who stole my inheritance now wanted a loan. But instead of telling him to rot, I played along. "Of course, Dad," I said sweetly. "Let's meet tomorrow. I'll see what I can do." That night, I didn't sleep. Not because I felt sorry for him, but because for the first time in years, I felt in control. The next morning, I went to meet him at a diner. He looked terrible, thinner, pale, and worn down. His expensive jacket was gone, replaced by a cheap knockoff. He tried to smile, but his eyes were filled with shame. "I messed up, kid," he said. "I just need a few thousand to get back on track." I nodded slowly. "I can help you," I said, "but you'll have to do something for me first." I told him I knew a friend who could help him invest again, a business consultant who specialized in recovering lost assets. Of course, this friend didn't exist. The whole thing was a setup. I had Jake pose as this consultant, and we arranged a meeting in a rented office space. We even created fake documents, websites, and email chains to make it all look legitimate. My dad, being as greedy and desperate as ever, fell for it instantly. He thought he was about to make his money back, when in reality he was about to lose everything he had left. Over the next few weeks, Jake the consultant asked him to transfer small amounts for processing fees, account verification, and international transfers. Each time, Dad complied. By the time he realized something was off, he'd sent us almost 10 grand, the last bit of savings he had. That's when I sent him a message from an anonymous account. "Consider this repayment for what you stole from your son." He called me that night, screaming, swearing, demanding answers. I let him shout. When he finally stopped, I said, "Now you know how it feels to lose everything you didn't earn." He went silent. Then, quietly, he said, "You did this." "Yeah," I replied. "I did. And I don't regret it." He started crying, actual sobbing, saying he was sorry that he didn't mean for things to go this far. But it was too late. You can't apologize for betrayal once the damage is done. 4 months after that, I ignored his calls. He tried showing up at my work once, begging me to forgive him, saying he was living out of his car. Part of me wanted to feel bad. But another part, the part that remembered my mother's tired eyes and the way he laughed when I confronted him, felt nothing but satisfaction. You know what's strange? Revenge doesn't feel like fireworks. It's quiet. It's cold. But it's satisfying in a way that words can't describe. So that's the situation I was in. I had a father who stole my inheritance, wasted it on a woman who used him, and then came crawling back when he lost everything. And yes, I made sure he suffered the same way he made me suffer. But before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and really think about it. If you were in my shoes, if your own father betrayed your mother's last wish and stole your future, what would you have done? Would you have taken revenge like I did, or walked away? I'm genuinely curious. Comment below what you would have done before I finish the story. After I cut him off completely, I moved to another city. I got a decent job in IT, saved up, and started building the life I was supposed to have, the life my mother wanted for me. Every now and then, I'd get updates from relatives. Apparently, Dad was living in a rundown apartment, drinking more than ever, occasionally seen digging through dumpsters behind the old casino. One aunt even said he'd been hospitalized once for liver issues. I can't lie, hearing that didn't make me happy. It didn't make me sad either. It just was. Like karma was balancing things on its own. But then something unexpected happened. About 2 years later, I got a letter. No return address, just my name. Inside was a handwritten note, shaky, messy, but familiar. It was from him. He wrote, "I know I can't fix what I did, but I want you to know I finally understand what I lost. Not the money. You." There was a photo inside too. Me and him fishing when I was 10, my mom behind the camera smiling. I stared at it for a long time. Then I burned it. Some people say forgiveness heals you. Maybe that's true for some. But for me, forgiveness would have meant letting him win again. My revenge wasn't about money. It was about power, taking back the control he stole from me and proving that he couldn't break me the way he broke my mother. Years later, I still think about her. Sometimes I visit her grave and tell her what's going on in my life. I tell her I finally paid off my student loans, that I'm engaged to someone who loves me for who I am, and that I finally feel at peace. But every time I'm there, I also promise her something, that I'll never become like him. That I'll never let greed, pride, or selfishness destroy what really matters. Maybe one day I'll find it in my heart to forgive him. But not yet. Not when I still remember how it felt to be robbed by the one person who should have protected me. So yeah, maybe I went too far. Maybe I became cold, maybe even cruel. But he taught me that love without respect means nothing. He stole my inheritance, but I stole his comfort. And honestly, that feels like justice. If you've made it this far, tell me, was I wrong for what I did? Or was I right to teach him a lesson he'll never forget? 'Cause even after all these years, part of me still wonders if I became the very monster I tried to destroy. Like this video if you think I did the right thing. Subscribe for more true and shocking stories like this one. And please, share your thoughts in the comments. I really want to know what you would have done if your own parent betrayed you like that. Thanks for listening to my story, and I'll see you all in the next one.